Hi, I've decided to create these little mini videos when I feel inspired to share what I see in my health coaching clients, things that can help other people. So I wanted to talk to you today about whenever we are eating when we're not physically hungry and what we can do to break that habit. So if you are eating when you're not physically hungry, then chances are that you are using food as a coping mechanism or as an escape or as a way of numbing out. And it's also oftentimes referred to as emotional eating, right? So it's almost like we're eating our emotions. We're trying to avoid feeling a certain way, whether that be boredom or anxiety or depression or sadness or something else, right? And instead we just use food as a way to escape or numb out or to avoid dealing with emotion, because oftentimes it might feel too hard. And before we know it, this type of behavior, eating when we're not hungry, can turn into almost a compulsion, right? So it might start as something we do every once in a while, and then before we know it, it's something we do every night, right? And that's when it starts creating issues with our health, and it can start interfering with the goals that we have for our body and our health, right? So I wanted to give you a few pointers and guidelines as to what you can do if you think that you are using food even when you're not hungry. So the first step to changing a habit or breaking a pattern really that is not serving us is to, number one, is to have the awareness with us, right? Because without awareness, we have no choice but to continue on in our habituated pattern. We're going to continue doing what we've always been doing, right? So the first step is to become aware of our behavior, right? So once you have the awareness, you can start asking yourself, what is the emotion that I'm trying to avoid or escape? What is it that I'm feeling in this moment? And it can be good idea to also ask yourself first, am I physically hungry? If that's the case, by all means, go and grab something, hopefully something that's in alignment with your health and body goals, right? But ask yourself, what is the emotion? And sometimes we get our emotions muddled and we always say, oh, I'm feeling anxious. But underneath that anxiousness, oftentimes there's another emotion. They can be, guilt, shame, sadness, anger. Those are some of the most common ones. But also, so once we have the awareness with us, which is the prerequisite for any change to occur, then ask ourselves a question, am I physically hungry? And if we're not physically hungry, then ask, what is the emotion? What is it that I'm feeling? I feel, fill in the blank. And so oftentimes we start, this happens kind of like below our awareness. So because we're oftentimes on autopilot, right? We almost just recognize the dissatisfaction in something in our life, right? And then we immediately go to numb it out, even without thinking in some cases, right? So bring the awareness and then start to ask yourself, if you're feeling sad, for example, what is something that you can do to actually address that, as opposed to going for food and using that as a way to escape or numb out or not feel a certain feeling you don't want to feel. And it's not at all about pushing down emotions, pushing down feelings, because the purpose of a feeling is to be truly felt, that's all. So it's important to allow the feeling, but not to let it linger, because that's when, a bad moment turn into a bad hour and then a bad day or a bad week, right? So become aware of it and see if you can be with that emotion for a moment and breathe into it. And you will notice that nothing scary will happen if you allow your feelings to be there, because it won't serve you to get, your emotions, trapped inside of your body. The feelings and emotions need to be released. If they get trapped inside of the body, they're going to come out one way or another, and oftentimes not in a good way, right? So become aware, start asking yourself the questions and see what is the true underlying emotion that I'm feeling, and then address that. Hopefully that helps. I'm trying to keep this short, so please comment if you recognize yourself in this behavior, eating when you're not physically hungry. and let me know how it goes to practice the awareness, which is the first step to change. All right, take care. Bye.